Summer has officially come to an end, and with that comes the top 10 best movies of 2016 of that summer. And so this is that video. I will also be doing a top 10 worst films of summer 2016, so keep an eye out for that in the next couple days. But let's dive into my opinions on the best movies of 2016 for the summer. Also keep in mind, I have probably not seen every single film which has come out in the last 4 months. So just know that. But I've seen close to 60, so I'm pretty sure that gives me a good amount of films to really work with and figure out what I want for a top 10 list. So this is my opinion. Please keep it civil in the comments if you decide to comment, and let's get started. I will throw in some honorable mentions here just really quick because I had a tough time assembling kind of the bottom portion of this list, to be frankly honest. I had about 13, 14 movies on here to begin with, and so these are the ones I had to eliminate. First up, we have Alice Through the Looking Glass. A lot of people did not like this film. I personally really enjoyed it. I didn't like the first one that much. I actually fell asleep through it, and I just really ended up enjoying this movie. I thought Alice was an interesting character, and I thought that the adventure that she went on with the time travel elements really worked well and was really interesting, and I had a blast watching this movie. We also have one of the better comedies of the summer, The Nice Guys. This is Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in a comedy duo, and it's a fun movie. It's set in I believe the 70s, and it's kind of a nice movie which respects that time period and that type of movie, and I had a fun time with it. I didn't love it as much as other people did for some reason. I definitely say check it out if you have the opportunity though. Curve is another one which just ended up on this list for some reason. I found myself just really enjoying this movie for the most part. I thought it was a really interesting concept with a game which you play on your phone and just progressively gets more and more dangerous as you win more and more money. I thought Emma Roberts did a really good job, as did Dave Franco. Really fun movie. The last one, which I honestly was struggling between this and my number 10 choice, Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe just came out. It's a horror thriller, and I had a really fun time with this movie. I thought it was a really good horror thriller. There's just a scene in there which completely changes the tone of the film and kind of the villain of the film for me, and so it just really didn't make it work for me by the end, and so that is really what ultimately kept it off of this list for me, but it came into a very close number 11. Now number 10 on this list is one that I was not really expecting to end up on the list when I originally went out to see it, and it's not a film that I was really expecting to enjoy that much. That's Money Monster. This film stars George Clooney and Julia Roberts, and essentially George Clooney is a TV host who depicts financial ideas, and he kind of guesses financial forecasts, makes recommendations. Oh, you should bet on this stock, you should not do this stock, that type of stuff. When there's a guy who loses a lot of money as a result of that, he comes to the station, holds everyone at gunpoint. It's a really interesting financial tension drama movie, and I actually had a blast watching this, a lot more than I was expecting to. The trailer did give a lot away, but the parts in between that, which kind of fill in the gaps between what is shown in the trailer, actually made it very exciting, and I actually really found myself really interested with this movie. So that is why it's in my number 10 spot. Number 9 is also one which I probably didn't expect to be on this list before I went to see it, and it is Me Before You. I can't remember the last time I had a romance on one of these lists. Me Before You, which stars Emilia Clarke, it deals with the idea of assisted suicide, and I found it to be a very interesting way to frame this issue, which is kind of a big issue. It's not as blown up as it maybe should be at this point, but it is an issue which is very important and is debated by a lot of different people. I thought that the romance between Emilia Clarke and Sam Claflin, it was very good and very fun to see, very genuine. They weren't just instant lovers or anything like that. I thought that the relationship was very cool to see, and kind of the workaround that Sam Claflin's character does, where it's kind of a trick where while she's thinking that she is bringing him out to experience the world and experience life, he's actually getting her to do that for herself, so that when he leaves, she has this whole life and she is capable of going out and living it. And so I found that to be just a really cool thing. It's a movie that I have actually been thinking about just since I saw it, and when I've had friends which have read the book or have seen the film, it's really interesting to talk to them about it. So yeah, this movie just stayed with me ever since I saw it back in early June. So Me Before You, number 9 choice. Now number 8 might give me some flack, but it's Ghostbusters. Now, before you spam me with hate, I just personally really enjoyed the movie. I found it to be really funny. I thought the cast is very good. I thought special effects were good. I thought the story was actually quite fun. I thought Chris Hemsworth was a bit annoying, but he was really the only issue that I had with the movie for the most part. I had a fun time. I had a blast watching this movie. And I know that other people did not. A lot of people just didn't enjoy the movie whatsoever. I personally did, so it is on my list and my choice for number 8. Number 7 was actually my top film of July, I believe, if you watched that video, and that is Equals. And this is a film which I knew very little about going into. It stars Nicholas Hoult and Kristen Stewart, and it is about the society which has essentially modified human beings from birth so that they don't feel any emotions. And so as a result, they don't make rash decisions, and they can just go to work, live their lives in a emotionless way, and they basically just do their jobs from day to day and don't experience anything fun. When Kristen Stewart and Nicholas Hoult's characters begin to feel emotions and have a defect as a result, they have to try to figure out a way to escape the society and live out their lives normally as a result. And I found this film to be just extremely really interesting. It's something which has been done before, but I think that the way that this film did it was just very, very artistic and a very, very neat way of doing it. So I really, really enjoyed this film, and I definitely think it is worthy of my number 7 choice. Number 6 is a film which I reviewed, and it has blown up, at least in regards to my channel, in views, which surprised the hell out of me. That's Anthropoid. This is a film about Operation Anthropoid, which happened in Czechoslovakia back in the 1940s during World War II. Essentially, it was an operation which tried to take down Hitler's third in command, and it's the story of these two guys who try to do that. We see the before, during, and after effects of this operation and everything which they're really risking as a result of this. And I found the film to just be extremely interesting as a history person, and I just really, really liked it. I thought it told a very authentic story, and while it's definitely not for everyone, the ending is extremely powerful and kind of tough to watch, especially if you don't know the end result. And so I found this one to be very, very good. I'm definitely going to be buying this thing day one on Blu-ray. So yeah, Anthropoid, number 6 choice. Now we're in the top 5. These are films which I just really, really enjoyed above any others, so let's get into it. Number 5 is Sausage Party. This film was just hilarious from day one, from the very opening scene. It has Alan Menken's score, and thus it has an Alan Menken song, which is as raunchy as Seth Rogen needed it to be, but it still has that Disney flair to it, which I absolutely loved as a fan of musicals, a fan of Disney, and everything between that. I thought this film was hysterical. It has fantastic social commentary, surprisingly, which I absolutely adored in regards to religion, in regards to different cultures throughout the world. I thought it was just a very, very neat thing to see, and the ending is just so ridiculous and off the walls that you just have to go back and watch it a second time, which I ended up doing with my brother. So I enjoyed it as much the second time as I did the first. So guys, Sausage Party, definitely worth your time. Check it out if you haven't already, and it's my number 5 choice. Number 4 is a film which freaked the fuck out of me, and that was The Conjuring 2. I made the very poor choice of seeing this thing at 10:30 p.m. on a Friday night in a packed theater, and it was a fantastic movie. It is very scary. It follows another case of Ed and Lorraine Warren from the first Conjuring film, and this is directed by James Wan, who is fantastic at horror now. And he's basically the staple of the franchise and of this genre. And the jump scares work. They make sense. And the story just has this gravitas to it. The characters are smart, which is so refreshing to see. When something scary is happening and they see it happen in the house, they leave the house. It makes sense. It doesn't help much, but it makes sense. I just found the story to be very, very compelling, very, very fun to watch, and I'm really excited to dive into this thing once again once it comes out. And so The Conjuring 2, one of the better horror films of the year by far, and definitely my number 4 choice. Number 3 is a film which I just unexpectedly fell in love with. I was expecting to enjoy it going in, and then by the time I left, I had new ideas of how to raise my kids, potentially, if that ever happens one day. And that's Captain Fantastic. It stars Viggo Mortensen in the lead role. He is this father who is raising his 7, I think, kids out in the wilderness, and he educates the hell out of them, and he is very, very honest with them. When their mother passes away, he tries to get them to her funeral, and as a result they have to experience the real world, and we get to see the results of that when these kids have been essentially confined to the wilderness. They've never experienced what it's like to have to socialize with someone outside of their family, and those just difficulties, which are just generally things that you learn growing up in the world, but when they've been confined to the forest for however many years, not something that they've ever learned. And so as a result, it's a really interesting film about the different styles of parenting, what you should kind of teach your kids. One thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is the fact that it takes the idea that you should just be straight and honest with kids when they ask questions, just because then they just know things and they're smarter as a result of it, and you can kind of teach them the basics between different things as a result, and as a young person, and instead of them growing up naive and ignorant about things. I found that to be a really interesting idea. Will I apply it to myself when I have kids? I have no idea, but it's just an interesting thing to think about. So I found this film to be extremely fascinating. I'm really excited to watch it again once it comes out. And Captain Fantastic, my number 3 choice. Number 2, again, a film which I did not expect to enjoy nearly as much as I did, and that is Hell or High Water. This is a film which is slowly still expanding in theaters. Check this thing out if you have the opportunity. This film stars Chris Pine, Ben Foster, Jeff Bridges, and is essentially a bank robbery movie, but there's so much in the background going on as to what is driving these characters, what is driving these 2 bank robbery brothers to do what they're doing. And it's just such a fascinating film. You have Jeff Bridges about to retire. This is his last case, and so that's kind of his main motivation for doing it. He doesn't want to retire, so he's just trying to kind of stretch out the case as much as possible but still catch these guys. And it's just a very interesting movie, a very, very fun movie. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to spoil it. Check out my review of it if you are interested. And it's just a bloody good time. It is so much better than you would think it would be, and that is really saying something. And yeah, Hell or High Water, one of the better films I've watched this year, definitely one of the best I've seen this summer, and is my number 2 choice. Now, at the end of the day, I have to choose my number 1 choice as the film which gave me the most pleasure watching it, with the film which I enjoyed more than any other film this summer, and one which I will watch again in a heartbeat when I have the opportunity to. And that is Captain America Civil War. Was this the most well-made movie of the summer? Probably not. Was this the best movie of the summer? In my opinion, it was one of my favorite films of the summer and probably of the year. This was essentially an Avengers movie because we have the film still focusing on Captain America, because it is technically his movie, but we get to see things from his perspective. We have Iron Man versus Captain America. The airport fight scene was one of the most iconic fights in movies now, and it was just such a fun time. The introduction of Spider-Man worked fantastically. Black Panther, it worked as a great setup movie. It launched Phase 3 with just lightning speed, and I just adored this movie. It had so many twists, so many elements to it, which I can't personally recall all of them because it's been so long since I've seen it, since May. But I'm really looking forward to watching this thing again. I had a blast watching this movie in theaters. I had an extremely fun time. I cannot really say that about any other film to that extent. And so Captain America Civil War is easily my favorite film of summer 2016. So guys, that is my list of the top 10 movies of summer 2016. Did you agree with it? Did you disagree with it? You most likely disagreed with it to some degree. So let me know your list in the comments down below. What were your favorite films of the summer? Let me know them. As I said before, I will also be doing a top 10 list of the worst films of summer 2016 as well, so that will be coming in the next day or two, along with the best and worst of August, and then also a fall movie preview with James DeSantis. So be sure to watch for that. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.